Hey everyone, Dowcaster here. We just had huge news drop about how our faction alignments affect our gameplay in Star Atlas. So let's dive in. There are 3 primary Council of Peace factions and then 3 minor factions in Star Atlas. The safe and medium risk zones are dominated by the primary Council of Peace factions being Mud, Oni, and Ooster. The high risk zones are dominated by minor factions, but we'll get to that in just a bit. We're going to focus on Oni, Ooster, and Mud. In the game, the main ship manufacturers, Pierce, Busan, VZUS, Calico, Ogrika, and Opal, have set up commerce in these zones and have established corporate alignments across the Council of Peace, or across the 3 primary factions. This has given each primary faction access to certain manufacturer blueprints. For example, if you're in the Mud faction, you gain loyalty with the Pierce Ship Company. If you aren't in the Mud faction, but you have a faction pass, you can still earn loyalty, just not as fast. And the natural resources that are needed for these blueprints are found in higher abundance in that faction's space. So, Mud's proprietary manufacturer is Pierce, Oni's is Busan, and Ooster is VZUS. This means that the resources needed to build VZUS ships are found most predominantly in Ooster space, and so on. So, what about the other manufacturers? Calico, Ogrika, and Opal are known as dual faction manufacturers. This means that 2 factions gain loyalty and have access to natural resources needed to build them. And it's split up like this. Calico is shared by Mud and Oni, Mud having the major alignment, so it'll accrue loyalty faster, and Oni having the minor alignment, still gaining loyalty and access, but not as much and not as fast. Ogrika is shared by Oni and Ooster, and Opal is shared by Ooster and Mud. And each one is major and minor, just like I've showed on the screen. Now this is where things get really interesting. You're probably thinking, aren't there more ship manufacturing companies? Apart from the major factions of Mud, Oni, and Ooster, the medium and high risk zones house minor factions who boast their own proprietary ship lines. And again, you can align with these, you can do missions for them, and you can raise loyalty with these minor factions to get blueprints and resources to build their ships. The first minor faction is JORVIK, or seen as BYOS, which is a faction of outlaws and pirates plaguing the medium and high risk zones. So what does that mean exactly? It means, for example, that access to more advanced Fimbul BYOS blueprints requires increased JORVIK loyalty. To increase JORVIK loyalty, a player must be aligned with the JORVIK faction and complete missions for them. The same goes for ECOS, which is a faction of radicals who terraform via bombings in the medium and high-risk zones. You have TUFA, a faction of metagenic creatures from the Cataclysm. And you have PHOTOLI, an ancient race of light-based creatures that have super advanced technology. And to clarify, PHOTOLI is not a faction, but the game mechanics treat it like one. So if you do missions for them, this can give you access to more advanced rainbow blueprints. And here's the table that organizes all this information that was shared by the Star Atlas team, and the link to see it yourself is listed below. I don't know about you, but this makes me 10 times more excited to play the game. Now, I didn't cover everything that they published, so if you want to read the whole document, I highly recommend clicking the link below to access what Star Atlas published. Lastly, I'd love if you considered liking this video if you learned something today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.